Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We meet again in Mr. B class. For today's material, it will be about comparative and superlative adjective, or usually we call it as comparative degree and superlative degree. So after this class, the objective for this class is about how to make a comparative degree and also superlative degree in a sentence. Okay, next. In comparative and superlative degree, we will discuss these two things, but the first one we will discuss about the comparative degree. Comparative adjective, or I usually call it as comparative degree. When do we use them? We use them or the comparative degree to compare two objects. It can be people, it can be objects, it can be places. So if you want to compare, untuk membandingkan sesuatu yang dua benda, dua orang atau dua tempat, we use comparative adjective. How do we use them? There are 5 rules. If you want to make a comparative adjective, what are them? Let me go on to the first rules. The first one, adjective with one syllable add with er. What is syllable? Syllable itu suku kata. So when we call tall it has one syllable, only tall, hanya satu kali ucap tall seperti itu. And then another one syllable word, small, tall, and then we can call apa lagi ya, thick, and smart. That was the example for one syllable adjective. If you find one syllable adjective and you want to make comparative, you add adjective plus er, and then you have to add then. For example, Bart is taller than Maggie. Which one is the Bart? The Bart is the taller one. So in here, the taller one is he. So here is the name Bart, and here is Maggie. Bart is taller than Maggie. Don't forget to add subject and then to be and tall for the adjective and also the comparative degree and then. Next, comparative adjective rule number 2. Adjectives ending with y change into er. I-E-R. Okay, if you find one adjective word with the end letter is y, you have to change the y into I-E-R. Plus then, for example, lazy. The word, the last letter is y. So if you want to compare something by using adjective lazy, you change it into lazier. For example, Homer is lazier than Lisa. Rule number 3. One syllable adjectives ending with consonant, vowel, and consonant again. Double the last consonant and add er. For example, you take a look at the example in the word fat. We have consonant F, and then we have vocal A. We have also consonant T. Based on the rules number 3, we have consonant, vowel, and consonant for the end, for the last letter. So we have to double the last consonant and add er. For example, fatter. We cannot use fatter with one T. We have to use fatter with double T. And then here is the example for the sentence. Homer is fatter than Marge. Homer is fatter than Marge. Okay. Next, rule number 4. Adjectives with 2 or more syllables add more before the adjective. It is kind of different with the previous rules. With the word one syllable, if you have or find the word with 2 or more syllables, we change er. We don't have to add the er for the adjective, but we change er into more. And here is the example. Beautiful. How many syllables? B-U-T-ful. We have 4 syllables. So because the rules call that if you have two or more syllables, you have to add more before the adjective. So the example is more beautiful than. Here is the example in the sentence. Maggie is more beautiful than Mr. Burns. Of course, Maggie is more beautiful because Maggie is the girl and Mr. Burns is a boy. He's a man. Okay? Rule number 5. Irregular adjective to memorize. It is different with the other rules that we add or we add more before the adjective. But for the irregular adjective, we have to memorize because this is irregular. We don't have any rules. We have to memorize, but it is only few adjective, and it only we have 4 in here. Good. If you want to make sure that want to compare two things, use better. Good, better. And then bad. If you want to compare two things, bad become worse. Not better, tapi worse. Good, not gooder, but better. Far, not farer, but farther or further. Much, not mucher, but more. Okay? Here is the irregular adjective. You have to memorize because we don't have any rules for the irregular. Good become better, bad become worse, far become further, much become more. Here is the summary for today. You can read the summary because I already tell you about the all rules for the comparative adjective or comparative degree. Next, superlative adjective, or I usually call it as superlative degree. When do we use them? We use them or the superlative degree to compare one object, one person, one place in one group. Okay? For example, you want to compare you with the rest of the group, the rest of the people in the class. So you use superlative. Or in Indonesia, we can call it as pengen membandingkan satu benda atau satu orang atau satu tempat dengan benda banyak lainnya. Contohnya. But before we go to the example, we will discuss about the 5 rules for the superlative adjective. Because in superlative adjective, it also have 5 rules, just like the comparative adjective. Next, rule number 1, adjective with one syllable. Add the blank 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 adjective plus est. For example, rich. How many syllables we have for the word rich? Adjective rich only contain of one syllable. So we change Mr. Burns is the richest in the Springfield because Mr. Burns is the one who has much money in the Springfield. So we can call it that Mr. Burns is the richest in the Springfield. Don't forget to add the, don't forget to add est after the adjective. If you don't have the and also est, we cannot we cannot say that sentence is superlative adjective. D is important. Rule number 2, adjectives ending Y, change it into ist. It also happened in the rule number 2 for comparative degree, but we change it into iest. So we have to add the plus adjective plus iest. For example, we have the word funny for the adjective. Because funny, the last letter for funny is Y, we change Y into iest. So it becomes the funniest. Krusty is the funniest clown in Springfield. Okay? Krusty is the funniest clown in the Springfield. So we compare Krusty with the rest of the clown in the Springfield. In the Springfield, Krusty is the funniest. So Krusty is the most enjoyable person in Springfield. Okay, so don't forget to add the an adjective, and IEST. Rule number 3. One syllable adjectives ending with consonant, vowel, consonant, double the last consonant, and add EST. It is the same with rule number 3 for the comparative degree. If we have consonant, vocal consonant, we double the last consonant. Fat becomes the fattest. Homer is the fattest in the Simpsons family. Rule number 4. Adjectives with 2 or more syllables add the most before the adjective. And in here, we don't have to add EST because when you have 2 or more syllables for the adjective, we change it into the most. Okay, the most. For example, dangerous, dangerous. We have 3 syllables. So when you want to make the superlative form, we change it into the most dangerous. Fat Tony is the most dangerous gangster of the Springfield Mafia. Remember, for rule number 4, if you have 2 or more syllables, add the, at most, and then add the adjective. Rule number 5, irregular adjective to memorize. It also the same word, the same adjective in the comparative one. We only have 4 adjectives that is irregular. Good, bad, far, and much. If the comparative good become better, and then now superlative become the best. Bad, worse, the worst. Fat, far, further, furthest. Much, more, the most. Here is the summary for today's material. I think that's all for today's material. If you have any question, ask me and type me your question in the comment below. I think that's all for today. Don't forget to do your activity for the task number 4. I think that's all. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.